Oh, terrible music, fantastic podcast. It's Horse Racing Happy Hour, hanging out with you. Yet another edition of the program here. As we roll through August, it means it's time for the King's Plate. And when we talk King's Plate on this program, we talk to a guy named JD Fox at Horse Tickets on all the socials. If you want to go find him there, appreciate him jumping on the show yet again for a trip up to Woodbine. A couple of turf courses and a synthetic course, a bunch of 20-cent wagers. A lot of fun up there, young JD. How are you, man? Been a minute.
Wow, young. That's the first time I've been called young in a while. I mean, let's see. The last two times I've been on the show, I've been called Barry Spears and young. So I'm living the life, my friend.
You look so much like Barry that's why that happened. It's obviously what happened there. You'll hear from Barry Spears tomorrow, both on my radio show here in Louisville. I got the t-shirt out right now. But of course, as part of SoCal Saturdays that we do every single week here on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Of course, on Thursdays, we try to jump around the country and frankly, in this case, around North America to highlight those biggest races of the weekend. And the King's Plate itself, if people don't know what it is, JD, we can kind of just start there. I think it's a reasonable spot to start. And what the race represents, people probably look and they go, wow, $1 million race, and it's not even a grade 3. What are we doing here? Is this Kentucky Downs? Well, no, that's not what's happening in this spot. Who can qualify for the King's Plate? And frankly, there's a fascinating stat about who's won this thing in the past as well. Much different than our classic races here in the United States.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the first leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. And for the Canadian Triple Crown, all 3 legs, which are held on 3 different surfaces at 2 different racetracks, there'll be a test later, so keep up. You have to be bred in Canada. So obviously that's why there's a restriction there. And that's why you'll see, if you look at the past performances, you'll see an R next to it because it is a restriction versus just being a state bred program. It's a restriction. So that's why big purse, but not eligible to be a graded stakes event or a group stakes event, because you will get, whether people in Canada want to call them groups and graded, that's another story for another day. We're not here to talk about it. But essentially what you have is the ability for all of Canada to come together. Now, obviously, there have only been 3 lifetime winners outside of the province of Ontario. And the last few years we've been doing this, Louis, I don't even want to recall how many years we've been doing it. We've been talking about all Ontario breds. This is going to be the exception this year, which is going to be fun, and we'll talk about it. The other thing that you're pointing at, and I want you to lay the stat down, is the fillies do very, very well in this 3-year-old race.
I was going to say, so if you were surprised to see a filly at the, not just favorite, I mean, daunting favorite, frankly, coming into this. Her name is Luster. She'll break from the inside. Johnny V into ride. It was just 2 years ago that Caitlin Her Greatness, won this race, becoming the 39th filly to win the King's Plate, looking for a 40th in the rendition this year. And certainly, look, Luster's got as good a chance as any of those other fillies that is running this race. And so should be interesting once we do get there. 6 stakes on the card. We'll talk about all of them on this show with JD, who spends a lot of time watching Woodbine and is a real devotee of their racing up there. They just finished the turf course up, and the renovation a little bit ahead of schedule. Actually, we're not used to that here with Churchill Downs. Different things, unfortunately, for those folks across the street. My goodness, they got it right. Thank goodness, because their turf course is awesome right now. But boy, it took a lot longer than I imagined than they wanted it to. There, only 1 race on that Taylor turf course this weekend. But how has it been playing? Is there anything we need to know about the differences between those turf courses?
Yeah, no, I think really DP Taylor turf course, 1.5-mile turf course. It is the outermost track. So when you, as a real bird, are right there, you're actually on that outer turf course and not the main track. So a little bit different setup at Woodbine. But it's, the crown jewel of that racetrack, and they did it right. We're basically a year out from when they started the renovation, which was after the King's Plate last year. They literally just started tearing up the turf course. They needed to redo it. It is absolutely beautiful, Louis. It ran perfectly and fair from the opening jump last weekend. We've only had a few races on it. Obviously, things will settle. I think the goal, obviously, Woodbine Mile weekend, the Turf Festival in September was the goal. It's great that Woodbine's able to get it done early and also get some more races run on it before then to see if there are any kinks to figure that out. And also it opens up the condition book, because the inner turf course is the old standard bred track at Woodbine before they bought Mohawk and moved everything over. So it's a little tighter. and the configurations are a little different. So there's some distances that have not been available that are normally available in the book for the horsemen. So getting those kind of moved up in the book as well, helpful for everybody. We're going to see a lot more turf racing next few weeks here.
Of course, notable speech came out of the Woodbine Mile last year. And one of the things we talked about, JD, was an unusual Woodbine Mile because it was a two-turn Woodbine Mile, right? Going into the Breeders' Cup, always a great predictor for success in the Breeders' Cup mile. Once we get there, Keeneland, of course, this year will be the site. So a two-turner there as well. But yeah, it was part of my handicapping last year. It was like, notable speech, the best horse. And he just showed he could do it over two turns on that inner turf course. So it makes sense that he would be great. And in fact, he was there in the Breeders' Cup. But this day itself, JD and JD Fox is who we're talking with, of course, at Horse Tickets on the socials. You want to go find him there. Getting up there to Ontario. And of course, Mark Casse, a name that many American horse players are going to know as far as their own tickets, whether it be at a Saratoga, Churchill, wherever it might be. Who are some other jockeys and trainers that we need to know up there in Toronto?
Yeah, obviously, Mark Casse leading the meet and wins right now from a training standpoint with 40. The other big one, and you hear about him a lot, especially in the King's Plate circles, but you've seen him win in the U.S. quite a bit, is Kevin Attard. He's the other big name to keep an eye out for. And then we've got some Josie Carroll, who's always been a strong trainer, and Woodbine's got some good chances. And then we have a few trainers more on the periphery that we'll get to talk about today as well. So it's a little bit of everything. The Jockey Colony, a little bit different. Pietro Moran, didn't know if he was going to come back this year. He obviously took a long try down in Kentucky. He held his tack at Turfway this winter, didn't actually win a race, then moved to Keeneland, had a little bit more success, won a couple of races, but decided to move back up to Woodbine. So he's your leading jockey right now. Last year, he moved from apprentice to journeyman. So, and then obviously Rafi Hernandez is third in the jockey standings. Fraser Aveley's a name you got to know. Second in the jock standings right now, and actually first in earnings. He's been riding really well, and he gets a lot of those Casse rides. And then a blast from the past has made Woodbine his home and is doing very well, and that's Romero Mirage. He's been riding exceptionally well at Woodbine. He's fourth in the jockey standings. And I think going into that meet, if you told him he was in the top 10, he would be elated. So he's been riding really, really well.
Great stuff. Well, let's get to it then. A reminder up at Woodbine, the best takeouts are on the Win, Daily Doubles, and Pick 6. They also have a $5 Stakes Pick 3. We'll get there in race 7. We'll talk about that, which has a 15% takeout as well. But the Win takeout, if you are a Win better, there are a few spots better than betting at Woodbine, according to that takeout rate for sure. And so on a weekend like this, big fields, man, I love a good win place bet kind of a bet. I learned that, frankly, from JD. Louis, take those show bets out of your tickets. Concentrate on the win place. You'll have a better ROI long term. And that's what I've been doing for many years, frankly, thanks to our guy at Horse Tickets, JD Fox, joining us here on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Let's get into it. Woodbine on Saturday. Race 6 will be the Soaring Free. It's a $150,000 turf sprint here, 6.5 on the course that we were describing there on the outside. 2-year-olds in this one here. Where did you land in this one?
I'll give a little background first. So this is kind of almost a split entry affair. This is obviously an open event, but we'll talk about race 9, which is the Catch a Glimpse, which is a synthetic run 6.5 furlong race for fillies. But we've got cross entries here, so it is a little interesting as we play Nostradamus, crystal balling it up a little bit, figuring out where some of these horses will land. It's very interesting to see the fillies that are cross-entered and the fillies that are actually just here for this one. But we're talking all about fillies. I'm taking a colt in this spot. I like Quipster, the 2, 6-1 on the morning line for Kevin Attard and Pietro Moran aboard. I was really impressed by that maiden debut win. Really stalked the pace, took over, and could have won by a lot more. Really geared down there from Pietro Moran. And this is exactly the spot that I think fits this horse very well. Probably not going to be the favorite, and not going to be the favorite Attard horse in this race. But I do like the colt going against a field with a lot of talented fillies in it, Louis. And I know you like one of the fillies here.
I do like one of the fillies, but JD's going to go 2, 5, and 8 in this spot. I'm going to take a swing with the 8 horse on the outside through the years, coming back from a trip to Ascot in that Norfolk. I didn't run great. I'm not going to say anything too glaring about, too wonderful about that. But frankly, it's just what Wesley Ward does. And I don't think he'd be spotting this horse in this kind of spot unless he thought that she was ready to go here. We'll be interested to see if he decides on the turf or the synthetic. I would guess with this one that she'll stay in this race and go ahead and try it out here. Has been training at Keeneland, but that first Lasix, what he does with 2-year-olds, I think just makes a lot of sense. We're not going to get a dime on this horse, unfortunately. But I will go with the 8 on top in here. I'll go 8, 2, and 6. I know you went 2, 5, and 8 here. The 5 horse in here is Uncle Dodo, the aforementioned Barrage in this spot here for Barbara Minshall. Why not? Another one of those connections I'm sure we need to get to know.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a horse coming off of a stakes victory where Romero actually dropped the crop and it didn't matter. Had to hand ride the last probably 70 yards. It was near the end, but had plenty to get by. And I think we're seeing an improving type here. I think this horse is going to want more distance at the end of the day, but is stepping up from 5.5 to 6.5 here, and I think makes sense in the spot. I know I want to talk about your third selection, Speaker's Speech, because it's a very interesting horse for Mark Casse. $875,000 OBS April sale with a dam that has not produced anything. So this horse must look like $1 zillion.
Can't imagine. Yep.
Because this horse has produced one turf winner, and it's a low-level claimer at Tampa Bay Downs, and has only produced 3 winners, and one of those was a Mahoning Valley maiden win. So interesting.
I just think Mark Casse's not putting this one in here for nothing, right? That is really where I'm at here. And look, in a place that has maidens that run for more than $100,000, it's not like this horse is chasing a purse or something. You don't need to do that. That isn't something you have to do with a filly of this kind of this caliber filly. And so, no, I'm fascinated by the entry here, and I think he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, it's very pointed, and hey, 12-1, take a shot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A son of Speaker's Corner, as you pointed out. That's a $10,000 breeding job and an $875,000 purchase price. Fascinating one there for sure. We're talking with JD Fox. We're walking through the stakes races, a sextet of them at Woodbine on Saturday as part of the King's Plate weekend. Bold Venture is a grade 3. It's on the synthetic there. It is at 6.5 furlongs. At $175,000 is on the lineup, 3 and up in this one here. And it does start a $5 pick 3. Can you at least, I know we're not super sure on who's going to be in what leg of this thing here, just because people are cross-entered, JD, but what is this wager? I know it's got a 15% takeout, races 7, 9, and 10.
I'll put it this way, Louis. It's 25 times more than the normal minimum bet on the pick 3 at Woodbine. If you play a pick 3 at any other spot, and there's rolling pick 3s on this card, if you play a pick 3 any other spot, it's a 20-cent base denomination. This one is $5. So it's going to be very interesting to see the pool spread. I think this is going to be a big pool given the quality fields that we're going to be seeing in these races. I think this is a $300,000 or $400,000 Canadian pool. Again, we're talking these purses and everything today. We're talking Canadian dollars, so you got to do a little mental math in your head. Yeah. But this is going to be a very big pool.
Interesting stuff for sure. In the Bold Venture, this sprint here for 3 and up, who you got?
I have a lot of asterisks on my notes, and we'll go through all of them. But I think if anything comes to pass, Western World, a 6, is going to be where I land and is a potential single in this spot for me.
Okay.
Second to Miss Vivienne last time out in the Highlander. Miss Vivienne, I think, would be odds on in this spot, but is running at Saratoga on Friday. Why not? And actually, Pietro Moran is going to Saratoga on Friday, right before the big day on Saturday. Very interesting. This is a horse that took the lead against No Balls last year in the Kennedy Road. That takes some second half of that horse name to do that and try to hold on. But Fraser Abley's been up for forever on this horse. I think this horse can get the lead in this spot. Now, the one horse that I think could challenge for that lead up front is also, very interesting is Pool in OT, which I know is the horse you like, Louis. Now,
It is.
we talked about purses and things. It's very interesting in that Pullen and OT is cross-entered into an Ontario-bred stake on Sunday that has almost the same purse. That's a layup, but obviously this is a graded stakes
Mhm.
event. So I would assume Pullen and OT goes here, but you know, that's just if you want the grade stake because I mean, Pullen and OT will be 3 to 5 on Sunday for the same purse if they want to do that. So
And
that's
it's a
where we're
6-year-old
trying to play
gelding.
this
It's not
game.
like we're not trying to breed this one, right? He's a
Yeah.
6-year-old gelding. At some point, you're just making money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the sure shot is that's kind of where I'm thinking Pullen and OT may not end up in this spot, and that's why I
Okay.
like the 6 even more. So and I think the other interesting one obviously is GT 500, who is dual entered in this spot, and another race we'll talk about later, the King Edward. I'm thinking the King Edward is the spot, but if GT 500 is in this race, obviously I wouldn't single the 6. I'd go 5-6 in this spot. But again, we're playing Notre Dame, Louis, and I'm not very good at that. So
I get it. I get it. Now we're trying to figure out who's going to be in which race for sure. But yeah, Pulao and OT, I think that the case is pretty obvious for that one. And certainly the running style in this kind of field, being able to sit just off, do the best running at the end is always good in a synthetic sprint. If you get the lead, keep it, good on you. But, so often the best sprinters on the synthetic are the ones who are willing to sit just off. I do think Notorious Gangster in here for the aforementioned Josie Carroll and the Hernandez connection there is very, very interesting on the outside. And if we're willing to draw a line through routing at 1.125 miles in the Dominion Day last out, we get back to a horse that just ran off the screen at 7 furlongs. And I'm interested too, because one of the biggest handicapping differences between, I don't know, say a Saratoga card this Saturday and this one is if someone was on Lasix last time, guess what? They're still on Lasix here, right? So I'm not having to look at that variable for these kinds of races. So this horse to me is a horse that's going to want Lasix, has been better on Lasix since applying it, should be in this kind of spot, of course, ran third in the King's Plate just last year. I think this one sprinting is very, very interesting and is going to have to do it from off the pace. There's going to be plenty on the front here for me. So I'll go in this one. I will go 2, 8, and 5 in race 7. You have the 3 horse in your handicapping here as well. That would be Awesome Bourbon. This is one that hasn't won this year, is 0 for 4. Why would that horse land third in your handicapping?
for me, this is the pace meltdown scenario. I think this horse probably has the best closing kick of any of the horses in the field. So I think this horse can definitely hit your Trier Super. And if things get crazy with the 2 and the 6, and maybe the 3 gets a jump on the 8 you like, I think this horse can come up. And obviously, Mirage has been riding that style, has come from far back in a lot of races. And this horse finished second, 2 back in the Pink Lloyd, 2 pulling an OT, only beaten by a length and made up, 6 or 7 lengths coming down the line. So this horse definitely has the closing kick to make it interesting if they go crazy up front, and both the 2 and the 6 are in the race, which is a lot of butts. But at 15-1, you'll take a few butts in your handicapping.
Yeah, I was going to say, even with some defections, you might still get 8-1 on that horse, or 9-1, something like that. So one to watch there for sure. The Grade 2 Canadian is up next in race 8. I'm talking with JD Fox. My name's Louis Rabeau, and this is the Horse Racing Happy Hour, our King's Plate edition of the program. The Grade 2 Canadian is 1.16 miles on that inner turf course. It's presented by the Japan Racing Association. And I look back, I think this is a decade of them presenting that race. They've been at a partnership for a very, very long time. A couple of interesting entries in here, JD, as we work our way through this card. But the inside horse here is going to be 3-1 in Lupo. We're going to get a 5-2 price on Eponine and a 2-1 price on Proctor Street. And what's interesting about all those horses is are any of them coming in off of, just Eponine, off of an allowance win. Otherwise, these other horses are kind of trying to find their way, including Proctor Street. But I wanted to ask you this because it's something that I've seen a couple of times, and I don't know if it's an overall trend or just something that I noticed, but Brendan Walsh likes to send his horses that I think he thinks are Lasix horses, but can run in these graded spots in Canada. Is that what's going on with Proctor Street here, in your opinion?
Yeah, that seems to be what makes the most sense here with Proctor Street. To finish 7th last time in the De La Rose, which is one of the most interesting conditioned stakes races you have, that of course being the non-winners of a graded stakes event in 2025 or 2026. Kudos to the racing office for that one.
Hey, they got 8 horses. There you go.
Yeah, but finishing 7th there, obviously I think we'll improve off the Lasix. Got a little bit of a refresher, which also makes me think that, this horse had been running pretty consistently at the 3.5 week mark. Maybe bled, I don't know. But interesting spot here. I'm kind of staying away from the top spot because I think Eponine is hands down the not only for the Les Mis fans the best name in the field, but also I think the class of the field. I think Irad did a great job last time, really figuring out how you need to approach this horse going into the turn, because this was the first time in 3 rides that he got her to respond. And I think Raffi is going to take notes on that and look back at a couple of the performances that were just misses last year in France and some very, very good races. The Prix de Sandringham is a very easy race to watch and find on YouTube. Godspeed is a great horse, and Eponine almost nailed Godspeed there. So just something to watch and look for. I think Eponine is the class of this field, and I think Eponine, if stays in the race, I think Eponine's a single for me in this spot.
Oh, wow. Okay. You and I have the same top 3 here. Obviously, reversed order here. I'll go 7, 6, and 4. I can't get over the price. If I can get 8-1 on Power of Destiny in this spot, I get Johnny V and a horse that frankly has shown it the last couple of times a willingness to sit just off. Missed last time, did get the lead in the stretch there in a 1.125 mile race there at Woodbine. I think the slightly shorter distance is probably this horse, probably a miler, probably a 1.16 type of horse. I think will be a better suit here. I'm with you. I think Proctor Street's got a good shot here, but 2-1 compared to 8 that horse is not 4 times more likely in my mind to win this race than Power of Destiny, for instance. And so I'll go 7, 6, and 4 in here. Obviously, I'm not an Eponine. I'm just not as sure about that one. But if that one does win here, obviously I am not surprised with performance, connections, all the things. And so certainly included in my handicapping as well. So I'll go 7, 6, and 4 in here. What do you make of the 7 horse in here? If it's 8-1, I mean, goodness gracious, that might be worth a shot, huh?
Yeah, I just worry about the quick. We're looking at it'll be 10 days between races, making sure that Power Destiny can get back, and obviously James Begg is certain that that's the case. But I kind of went down a little bit in my thoughts just because in 2026 that is a quick turnaround even for a pretty royally bred British horse.
Yeah. All right. That's all fair enough. He's JD Fox. I'm Louis Remote. Horse Racing App here, rolling along. Race 9 up next there at Woodbine on King's Plate Day. Leading into the King's Plate will be the Catch a Glimpse. It's $150,000 turf sprint here for 2-year-old fillies. And so a really interesting group in here. Some that are cross-entered in the other race as well. JD, where'd you land on this one?
I'm on the 1 Liberty Beach. I liked Quipster going back to the first race we talked about, the Soaring Free. And if I'm going to like Quipster here, Quipster beat Liberty Beach on debut. Liberty Beach win against the boys that day, then broke the maiden against the girls next time out. Got the lead pretty easily, had more, and Mirage put the stick away at the end of that race. I think there's a lot more for this $425,000 Keeneland purchase. And again, why I make note of it here is also that's an Ontario bred that sold at Keeneland for $425,000. Mark Casse knows what he's doing here for the daughter of Omaha Beach. I love this horse in this spot, and if I get anywhere over 4-1, we're gonna send it in a little bit on this one, Louis.
We'll send in talk there. Same top 3 again, JD, which terrifies me for everyone watching this watching this episode. But I'll go 3, 5, and 1, which means I have Maloney on top here. Comes out of a win on debut. A guy who used to ride up there quite a bit, is tearing it up in Southern California. Kazushi Kimura was in to ride at the end of June over one of their big weekends. This one won on debut, as I mentioned. 6-horse field. Did the thing that I want to see in this kind of race on synthetic, at least, which is sit just off and then do your best running late. In this case, though, I think we'll move well to the synthetic as well. And, everyone's has to make that kind of shift at Woodbine, right? Because there's so many races that the condition book fits. Okay, we're running on the turf this time. We'll run on the synthetic next time, whatever it might be, or gets washed off, whatever. Kevin Attard's synthetic to turf numbers are the best in Canada. And so I do trust him very much in this spot. So I'll go 3, 5, and 1. The 5 horse in here is Ghost Me. And this one is a fascinating one because this one's already won the My Deer, won on debut as well at Aqueduct on the turf, gets back here for George Weaver. Serious shot in here.
Yeah, and could be any type because we saw a wire-to-wire win at Aqueduct and then came back from the back of the pack basically to sweep up on everybody in the My Deer. It could be any type, another Ontario bred here. So I have the 2 Ontario breds on top of Maloney, and you like Maloney. I mean, American Pharoah on turf, I wouldn't worry about that at all, Louis.
No, that's exactly right. I thought the breeding made sense as well. I love the inclusion of this pair of 2-year-old races in this sequence here because I think it mixes it up and makes the puzzle that much more difficult to put together, which I really, really love there at Woodbine. On Saturday, let's do it. It's King's Plate time on the show. We're talking with JD Fox. Of course, you know him at Horse Tickets as our Woodbine guy on here. $1 million on the line for Canadian foaled 3-year-olds, and you brought one up. We have never had a Manitoba bred win this race, and his name is Bricketto. He won the Marine last out at 1 mile and a 16th. They did not run in the plate trial, which of course was a little less than a month later. It was on the 19th of July. That was won by the horse breaking just to his inside, Highway to the Moon, coming into this one. Bricketto, a homebred for the Ross and or Dr. McKaig, I should say, excuse me, in this case. It's fascinating to me as I do research for these shows and potentially 40 fillies winning this thing. But the Manitoba bred makes me think of Assiniboia Downs, which makes me smile. So go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, and Dr. McKaig should make you smile. He's 79 years young. He's been a horse owner for 52 years. He's been a breeder for 50 years.
Wow.
Bricketto is his first graded stakes winner. He's got a barn of 2 horses. They're homebreds. Going back 20 years, they've named all of their homebreds after wine grapes. So Bricketto is an Italian wine grape varietal.
Wow.
I was really hoping somebody would be able to dig down this research. We've been trying. We think there have been less than 10 Manitoba breds that have ran in this race, somewhere closer to 5. One of the challenges with Canada is originally they put the city versus the province that the horses were bred in. So it takes a little more of the noodling to come up with it. But this is definitely an odder scenario. And you've got basically a province behind a horse. And, Julia Carey, this is only her second ever plate runner. She had Lac Macassa back in 2022. That's of course the Moira led Queen's Plate in that case. Munger gets his 4th career plate, third mountain row. He was on Raffaru in 24, Sudbury's Ghost in 25. It's just an interesting story. This horse, closed from nowhere in the Marine, 90 buyer. Right. The numbers fit. It's very, very interesting to have Bricketto, who is the second choice in the wagering with all of these storylines. It's a great story. I know the Winnipeg Free Press has done a lot on it. If you want to Google it after the show, there's some fascinating articles on Dr. Ross McCraig.
Good stuff for sure. I love that horse did that the first time routing, right? I love when horses show something new when they try something new. That was really exciting last time. But let's go ahead. We'll go through the field here. Luster will break from the inside, trying to become the 40th filly to win the King's Plate. Obviously, there are other fillies in here. We'll get to them in a moment. She wins the Woodbine Oaks last out on that trial weekend. John Velasquez back in to ride this one. She wins the Celine before that. She wins the, wins an allowance at Keeneland before that, before Josie Carroll brings this one back up to Canada. She's the favorite, and she should be the favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to that Keeneland event, who did she beat? Oh, wait, let's see. Amber Glen, who just won the Lake George at Saratoga. Amber Glen. And she beat her by 5.
I know.
She had one slip up to one of the other fillies in this field, but other than that, Luster's been dominant. 97 buyer in the Oaks. Josie Carroll's been here before. She's looking for a fourth plate. This would be her second Oaks Plate double. That was Inglorious back in 2011. Johnny V looking for his second plate, obviously winning with Wonder Gig Dot in 2018. Everything fits here. Ernie, the morning line guy, does not like to go under even money. And I think, I think Luster could have been 4-5 in this spot, honestly.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
think Luster probably will be 3-5, 4-5 when the gates open. There are so many, and we can go over them at the end. There's so many ways and multi-race exotics that you can put your money in here to make Luster pay a little bit better for you if you're down with it. But that will also increase the prices on anybody else we want to talk about, Louis. So you can drive in terms of who else you want to talk about here, because there are some other fascinating stories in this.
We're going to go through the field, man. Fire and Wine is the second, ran 8th in the plate trial, did win a Futurity back in November. Can this one get back to form, or is unfortunately the 2-year-old the best year?
Yeah, the Coronation Futurity has not been kind to the winners recently, and that's a big stake. That's $250,000 stake that closes the meet basically at Woodbine. It's the last big 2-year-old race. Won that race by 5. Just has come back as a 3-year-old and fired blank after blank after blank in the King Corey, the Marine, and obviously in the plate trial. Zelko Kretschmar he's a very strong trainer. But I don't know where Fire and Wine went, but he's got a couple days to figure it out.
Fire and Wine has only passed 4 horses of the 21 he ran against this year. Bait Alina will break from the 3 here. This is another 30-to-1er, but it's Kevin Attard, and this is one that's won already. Tried rounding last time for the first time in the plate trial. They think enough to run this one again here. Maybe a trifecta push, or is this one just up against it kind of?
I think this horse ran very evenly last time out. Obviously broke the maiden in the debut for the season and had the seasonal debut late. So I think probably will be in the best shape we've seen. So I would take the 3 over the 2. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get into your try or your super, but I think there's some upside later in the year for the 3. And I also think the 3 will probably want some shorter distances going forward.
My favorite double-digit horse is I'm Your Medicine Man, 20-to-1 on the morning line. Harold Ladouceur is going to train. Louis Contreras, I think, has been the unluckiest rider in North America. 1 for 43 to start this meet for him there. Of course, viewers down here will have known him from Turfway Park just this last winter. I thought this horse showed up huge in the plate trial. And if you want a horse to spice up an exacta trifecta kind of play, this is the one for me, JD.
Yeah, 84 Buyer in that plate trial. Finished 3rd in the Coronation Futurity behind Fire and Wine, but we throw that out. Has actually ran pretty decent, and that 84 number is obviously top of the year. Contreras has won the plate twice, but he's also finished runner-up 3 times. He knows how to hit the board in this spot, and Arnold Ladouceur, obviously, class act. I always like throw out 2024 inductee in the North American Indigenous Athletics Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go. Dixie Law will break from the 5 here. Another Ontario bred, of course, as we talk King's Plate with our guy, JD Fox. The aforementioned Pietro Moran will ride here. This is the 2nd place finisher in the Woodbine Oaks, was 3rd in that Celine. Both of those behind Luster. Does she look at the backside of Luster once again on Saturday?
Well, I mean, she beat Luster on my birthday on May 16th to open the 3-year-old campaign, but has fallen further behind than 2 and ran pretty even efforts. I mean, you look at the 3 buyers on the year, 86, 88, 88. I think it's going to take more than an 88. And Dixie Law may have it, and you've got the leading jockey to try to navigate. But yeah, I think Dixie Law is honestly somebody that you can use underneath, and honestly, I think Dixie Law will be probably shorter than 10-to-1 when it comes to it, because people will see that Dixie Law beat Luster. But I don't think I think Luster at this point has her number, because I think Luster has improved and Dixie Law is kind of showing you what she is, which is still very talented. An 88 buyer at 3-year-old filly mid-year is still nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, back to back. In fact, what do we? Is there a world in which, because there is in my mind, that we have an all filly exacta in this race? Yes.
Yeah, I think that's certainly something that could happen, and we've seen it before in this race as well. So,
Don Ike will break from the 6. Josie Carroll trains here. Another 30-1 type shot. 5th place under John Velasquez in the plate trial. Does not get John Velasquez back here. Where do we place this one?
Yeah, tough to see, tough to figure out. Broke the maiden at Horseshoe last summer on turf. Ran 3 times at Woodbine. Won in the Woodbine debut, 5th in the plate trial. I just see, it's got to improve dramatically here. Has shown the ability to close, which might help, but got Imogene aboard. If anybody's gonna find the right spot in a race in this big race at Woodbine, it's Imogene. But I'm gonna pass on Don Ike.
Magical Factor up next, breaking from the 7. This is the Halden Campos combination that has frankly been very, very good. 6 for their last 18 at Woodbine together. A 2nd place finisher right behind Bricketto in the Marine. How good is this horse?
I think this horse is got limitless talent. You have to give all the love to Chiefs Wood. They've been on fire. They double sovereign winners as the outstanding breeder and outstanding owner this past year. I really think, Kazushi thought he had the race won. That's my opinion on the ride. I think Kazushi thought he had it wrapped up. And then obviously Bricketto came out of nowhere and snatched it. But I think this Rachel Halden trainee has got a ton of talent. I think long term we're looking at turf for this horse. This might even be the last synthetic race, because I think this horse is going to go on to do a lot on the turf. Gelding, which is unfortunate, but super, super talented.
Or we just get to watch him run for 4 years. That would be okay too. Magical Factor. Moving back to the turf means that the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown very much in play then, yeah?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we're going to see several of these horses try for all 3. That's kind of the one positive I like about the Canadian Triple Crown, and they did move. They moved some dates before. It was cool to move dates in the Triple Crown.
You can do that and not go completely out of business immediately. I didn't know that, JD. What a weird thing to try things. Wow, innovation! How dare they in Canada? What a ridiculous thing.
You will see a lot of horses run in all 3 legs, and I think cool. This horse is definitely turf. I don't see the Prince of Wales. I don't see any dirt there, but turf certainly. Run breeders.
The Triple Crown. Yeah, Triple Crown. You run. Highway to the Moon is the winner of the plate trial coming in. Won the Queenston before that as well at 7 furlongs. So frankly, answered every call as a 3-year-old so far. 1 second place effort there in another, in a black type essentially at 7 furlongs, but stretches out, looks really comfortable doing it in the plate trial. This is a Malibu Moon grandson essentially in that line. And just these connections and you get Rafa. I mean, this does set up to be a very likely type if you are looking for a winner and or an exact to play. 6-1 sounds about a fair price there.
Yeah, definitely. Lots to like here. Obviously, Dale's got 2 runners in this spot, and these are his first 2 ever plate contenders. So obviously a pretty hot barn right now at Woodbine. And the fun fact on Raffy is, Raffy's won 3 King's Plates. He's only won 1 on a colt or a gelding, and it was Shaman Ghost, who of course sired the long shot you like, I'm Your Medicine Man. There you
That's
go.
awesome.
But the other thing I'll say on both of these horses, I struggle with Dale's last name, and I'm sorry. The French French pronunciations. But assistant trainer Kyle McDonald, that's a name that I can pronounce, thankfully. He's kind of a cool story. He's an influencer. He's a social media influencer. He's a former Yankees farmhand. He's at John Boy Sports. So he does their warehouse game stuff. He has his own team when they do those crazy warehouse baseball games. He's very popular, and then he's also assistant trainer at Woodbine. It's pretty cool story. So
there you go.
Wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, good stuff. The aforementioned Bricketto will break next. The second favorite on the morning line, 5-1 here. The only non-Ontario bred in the field, of Manitoba bred. You heard the story earlier. I think as good a shot as any outside of Luster here. I think makes a lot of sense in here.
Yeah, I do as well. Distance, I think, is going to be the one question.
Okay.
We saw the one stretch out, and it was the victory, and you were very happy with that. But I think long term, this is probably a mile peak. Can this horse get a mile and a quarter? That's my only question. But obviously, the Marine was a sign that I might be wrong there. And you got the South African Ryan Munger aboard, who's had a great meet so far at Woodbine this year. I think Burketto is definitely a way you can go here if you do not like the favorite.
Kevin Attard throwing the blinkers on very special here. A 30-1 entry, has yet to break his maiden, has gone 2 turns a couple of different times. Mirage Rides here, a hit the board candidate here?
Yeah, I mean, the blinkers go on obviously because the horse barely got out of the gates last time and somehow came back to almost win. But again, that's a maiden special weight company versus, one of the biggest races in the year. But I think this is a Stronach owned filly, or colt, sorry, very talented, just kind of off to a slow start, but we've seen potential. The work tab looks great. The times look exceptional. All the clocker reports are great on this horse. The horse just has to figure it out in the afternoon. And there's not a lot of better days to do it than King's Plate Day, Louis.
Might be a good day to put it together for sure. Bond Market will break next to him from the 11. Another gelding here. The Grant 40 combination, one on debut, going a mile on the turf. They'll flip over Will Carlos Grant for this one. What do we make of this runner? Interesting one, smaller operation there, of course, but boy, super impressive on debut.
Yeah, and that's the big condition. You look at the purse on that debut turf win. I mean, $100,000 on debut purse winner. Could be any sort. Obviously, cheaper homebred.
Right.
But this is a horse that fascinates me, and this is one of the things I love about the King's Plate, because you've got a second time starter that none of us have any idea about. I mean, I would throw this horse on the bottom of your tries and supers because there's some obvious talent there, but we don't know at this point.
Last horse in the field will be Military Time, breaking from the 12. I know this is one you like, Mark Casse and Abley on this one. Obviously a royal connection here. Third in the plate trial before that was second in the Queenston. What do we like about this one? Why do we think that this, Gunrunner, what tell us about Military Time?
Yeah, I think blinkers on's the key. I think this horse I think this horse has gotten a little lazy in a couple of the runs here, kind of lackadaisical. Want to get some focus in for Casse here, and obviously Casse's the king of making any of those sorts of maneuvers. He won, his 16th Sovereign Award as top Canadian trainer this past year. He knows what he's doing, certainly, and I think Military Time is going to be primed and ready to go fourth race of the year. Gets those blinkers on, gets outside as well. One thing we did not mention, which we should have, Louis, is obviously this was a double draw. So the connections found out what order they were going to be picking their posts in, and then picked their posts. And the 12 went earlier than I think we had thought, because they wanted Military Time outside. And I think Military Time is going to settle with the blinkers. I like this horse to maybe have a slight change in style, maybe more closely to what we saw in the plate trial, sitting back a little bit and making one run for Gary Barber and St. Elias Stable. And obviously when Mark Casse tends to win the plate, it's with Gary Barber. And when I say that, I mean all 3 times that Mark Casse has won the plate, it's been through a horse owned by Gary Barber. So
Gary Barber and St. Elias, of course, on this one, a $350,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale in 2024. Gunrunner on the sire side, signature red on the dam side there, born at Adena Springs in their Ontario operation as well. 1, 8, and 12 in the King's Plate for JD, and 1, 9, and 7 for me in that one. Do you mind me putting Burketto second there? Do you mind? Is that a thing I can do? Am I allowed to do that?
You're allowed to do it, and I think it's strong. I really had a tough time with, I could have given you 6 and really had them and tried to make a case that I was really giving you 3. I think it's really close behind. And I think we're going to see some decent, even if we both feel very strongly that Luster is going to win this race. And I feel very strongly personally about that. I still think there's going to be some value in the tries and the supers just because of the behind. And then the opposite, we always say you can get more money down at Woodbine with the 20-cent minimums. The super is also a 20-cent minimum. So you actually spend a little bit more, make a little more. And this is a good example of that. And I think I might throw a $2 or $3 super down.
Okay.
And obviously key Luster, and then be a little slim, but be smart about it. And I think that could pay big dividends in this spot.
Last race for us to discuss on this episode, talking with JD Fox. I'm Louis Rabone. This is the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Race 11 is the King Edward. We're back to the inner turf here. We're going a mile in this race, $200,000 on the line in the grade 2, 3 and up in here. I need to seize, JD. Who do you got?
Oh man, I just like making awkward silence while Louis has to but, gas me up. And I'm not trying to gas you up by making that statement. See, I tried to set it up. I was just a little slow. I'm getting over to being sick, Louis. It's not my
sorry
100% wit, but you got
this is your flu game. That's right. Yes,
exactly. This is my Jordan flu game. But gas me up. Obviously, when this horse has been in Canada, it's been in the Kevin Attard barn, and then when it's run in California, it's been with Peter Eurton. Nothing wrong with winning Hernandez to start the meet at Santa Anita in the winter. Did okay in the Thunder Road and the Frank Kilroy, but I think can close into this. And we've seen just a steady work tab. This is the reigning Canadian champion male on turf, and I see nothing changing there. This is the winner last year in this race, and I think Gas Me Up is the way to go here. With the exception, and I will say what makes it interesting is if GT 500, the 2-horse, is in this spot versus the Bold Venture. I do like GT 500 to maybe wire this field if this is the spot that Dale chooses for this horse. It's very interesting stuff.
I agree with JD. I think if I have GT 500 and I see these fields, this is the race I'm in. I get to the front and I just say, come get me. I totally agree with you. I think that's exactly what I would do if I were in the connections there. I do think Irish Aces, who ran second in that prep there in the grade 2 in July, is a fascinating one here, but that is me being very influenced by having seen this horse in person multiple times. So that's largely what that is. It's also a nice horse. Go ahead.
Yeah, Irish Aces is a horse that you love and you hate as a horse bettor, because that horse is always right there and always looks full of run, and then a couple times finish, and then most of the time he doesn't. He just sits there. He doesn't change leads. We've seen it all from him. So that's kind of my one concern going into that with Irish Aces, and why I kept Irish Aces out of my top 3. But a super talented horse. I think that setup in the Connaught Cup could not have gone better and could not get past GT 500. I've watched that. I watched that race probably 10 times last night, Louis. After remembering it and watching it it was only a few weeks ago. I still have no idea how Irish Races did not pass in the lane. No clue. I went frame by frame. I was trying to figure it out. I asked Claude. I asked ChatGPT, I asked Jeeves, I asked everybody, Louis. I couldn't figure it out.
You leave Jeeves out of this, all right? I am going to try to play this $5 pick 3. I'm going to throw 3 in the first 2 legs. I'm singling Luster. It's not a creative way to play this sequence, but I'm hoping that raising of the minimum and the lowering of the takeout, JD, will lead us to a better payout on that. Hopefully something in the, I don't know. So give me 3 digits on that. Give me $150, $200 on that. I'll probably be pretty happy. A good way to make money on Luster, frankly, on a Saturday. But JD, man, I do appreciate you jumping on every time we need to talk Queen's Plate. I really mean it. Where can people find you? Are you doing more stuff around the weekend, or am I like, if you're just doing stuff with me, I'm so sorry.
Next weekend, I'll be covering the Canadian Derby out for Century Mile, so tune into that. 2 things for King's Plate coverage. America's Best Racing's got everything you need there. And then also woodbine.com/USA. They aren't up yet, but you should have free PPs for Saturday. Woodbine.com/USA. Always a great place to go on a big stakes day. They take care of us in the U.S. They love
really
the
do.
business, and enjoy it. It's going to be a great day of racing. And Louis, thanks as always, my friend. Good to see you.
Not a problem at all. He's JD Fox. Terrible music, great, fantastic podcast called the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Back tomorrow with our Southern California preview with our guy Barry Spears, who will also be on my radio show right here at ESPN 680 at 1:05, 7:10 Eastern time tomorrow as we do a whip around the country. Thanks to JD, and thanks to you for hanging out with us on the Horse Racing Happy Hour.